Hi guys, welcome to How to Crack the Java Interview. Today we will discuss some of the s- Spring and core Java interview questions asked by one of the interviewer in CITI Bank. Okay, we'll discuss. There are 4 to 5 questions from the Spring. First question is, what is the difference between the beneficiary and application context? What is the difference between the beneficiary and application context? Which one is better? Which one is better? From bean factory is better or application context is better? Second question. Third question is, what is context loader listener? What is context loader listener? What is use of that context loader listener? Fourth question is, what is the difference between setter injection and constructor injection? What is the difference between the setter injection and constructor injection? Then fifth question is, what is Arthur lookup? What is the Arthur lookup in Spring you are using in your application? Okay, actually some of the company also still they're using Spring instead of a Spring Boot. They're also using Spring, and they're asking that question: Bean factory application context. What is the difference between them? And also uh, they're asking some they're asking some question like, what is context loader listener, what is the difference between setter injection and constructor injection, and what is at the rate lookup, like this. We'll discuss first one, what is the difference between the bean factory and application context. Actually, bean factory bean factory and application context both are used to create the ISO container. Bean factory also used to create the IOC container. Application context also used to create the IOC container. Application container is initialized by the context loader listener defined by web.xml. Application context is Application context is a container initialized by the context loader listener defined in web.xml. Actually, Bean Factory is a parent class of the application context. Bean Factory is the parent class of the application context. Actually, Bean Factory does not support annotation. Bean Factory does not support annotation. Application context support annotation. Bean Factory does not register with the Bean post processor. Bean Factory does not automatically register with Bean post processor, but application context automatically register with the Bean post processor. Bean Factory Bean Factory does not support internationalization. Bean Factory does not support internationalization. Application context support internationalization. Bean Factory does not support enterprise service. Bean Factory does not support enterprise service, but application context support enterprise service. And Bean Factory have to create the object of Bean Factory. Then Bean Factory is equal to Bean Factory Bean Factory Bean Factory is equal to new XML Bean Factory, new XML Bean Factory of new class path resource, new class path resource, new class path resource of spring.xml. That is the spring config, spring hyphen config.xml. Okay. That is the way it will create the object of a bean factory. Bean factory is responsible for the creating the IOC container, IOC container. Then then another one is application context. How it is create application context. Okay. Application context. application context equal to new application context, new new class path, new class path application context of spring hyphen config .xml. Like this we will create the application context object, but bean factory is lazy loading and application context is eager loading. How it is? Actually, bean factory will load the spring configuration file, spring configuration config file. Bean factory will load the spring configuration file. To load all the bean configure in bean configuration file, manage the life cycle of the spring bean when factory.getBean method will call, 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 in that time only, when factory.getBean method will call, when factory.getBean method will call, then bean factory will be load the configuration file, create the bean instance. Bean factory will load spring config file and will do the bean, will manage the bean life cycle. Okay, but but case of the application context, but in the case of the application context will load the spring bean configured in the spring configuration file and manage the life cycle of the spring bean at the time of the container loading, at the time of the container loading, at the time of the container loading, at the time of con- container loading. Application context will be con- application context will load the spring configuration file and manage the life cycle of the bean before before calling the calling the get bean method. Get bean method. Okay, first one, it is a second one, third one is bean factory is lazy loading. It is in application context, that is first one, then second one, third one is it is eager loading. It is not, it is first eager loading. Application context is faster than bean factory. application context is faster than bean factory. Bean factory. Okay. Application context is faster than bean factory. Bean factory does not support. Bean factory does not support internal serialization, but application context support internal serialization. Bean factory does not support annotation. First thing, does not support annotation. Bean factory does not support internationalization. Internationalization does not support enterprise service. Does not support enterprise service, but application context support application context support annotation, support application context also support internationalization, then application context also support enterprise service. Last one, automatically register bean post processor, but bean factory does not support does not automatically not automatically register automatically register with bean post processor. Bean post processor. Bean post processor, but application context automatically register. It is automatically register. It is automatically register bean post processor. These are the difference between application context and bean factory. Then we will go to the second question. Second question, which one is better? Which one is better? We got all the difference between the bean factory and application context in previous question. Which one is better? Actually, application context is better. Application context is better. Application context is better. It will automatically register bean factory post processor, and it is faster. It is faster. It is automatically register bean post processor. It is faster than bean factory. It is faster than bean factory. Okay. Then we'll go to the third question. What is context loader listener? Actually, context loader listener, it is used to create the it is used to create the IOC container. Context loader listener, actually, it is in web.xml. How it is configured? It is configured inside the listener tag. Inside the listener tag. Listener There is web.xml, there is a listener tag, stner listener tag. Inside the listener tag, it is configured inside the web.xml. It is used to create the IOC container. It is used to create the IOC container. First listener, then listener, under that listener class, listener hyphen class, then inside the listener hyphen class, that context loader listener is configured. Context loader listener is configured. That is in which package? org.spring framework dot web dot sf means spring framework, web dot context web dot context dot context loader listener, context loader listener, context loader listener, that org dot spring framework dot spring framework spring framework dot web dot spring framework dot org dot spring framework dot web dot context loader listener, that is configured in web.xml. Inside the listener tag, listener hyphen class, then it will configure the web.xml, and it is used to create the IOC container. Then next question, fourth question: what is the difference between the setter injection and constructor injection? What is the difference between the setter injection and constructor injection? Actually, setter injection. Setter injection is a dependency injection in a spring. Dependency injection in a spring. Dependent bean will be inject into the target class by calling the setter method. Dependent bean will inject into the target class by calling the setter method. Constructor injection is a dependency injection. Dependent bean will inject into the target class by calling the constructor of the class. Okay, how it is difference between the setter injection and constructor injection? Constructor injection, first constructor injection, constructor injection, all the property are mandatory to inject. All the property are mandatory to inject. But for the setter injection, all the property are means optional to inject. It is not mandatory to inject all the property, it is optional. Okay. Constructor injection, all the property are mandatory to inject. Partial injection not possible by constructor injection. Partial injection. First one is partial injection. Partial dependency is not possible. Dependency cannot be possible. Not be possible. Possible. But partial dependency is possible in setter injection. Here all the property are not mandatory to inject. All the property are in constructor injection, all the property PRO property are mandatory to inject. Mandatory to inject. But in setter injection, all the property are not mandatory to inject. Partial dependency is possible. Then second difference, if suppose Uh, Actually, there are three property in my class. I want to inject one of them. Then I'll go for the which injection? I, three properties there. I want to inject one of them. Then go to the setter injection. Constructor injection will not work. Then in my next one is if in my configuration file we have two injection is there, setter injection and constructor injection both are there. Then IOC container will use which injection? IOC container will use the setter injection. Then in override, setter injection can override the constructor injection. Setter injection can override can override can override the constructor injection. Okay. Third one, if you change the value, if you change the value, which one is better? Setter injection is better or construction injection is better? You can easily change the value in the setter injection. You can easily change the value in the setter injection. You can easily change the value in the setter injection. You can easily change the of value by setter injection. It will not create because it will not create new object. It will not create new object, new bean. It will not create. It does not create. It does not create. Does not create a new bean instance. If you change the value by constructor injection, if you change the by constructor injection value by the constructor injection, then it will create a new bean. It will create a new bean instance always. It will create a new bean instance always by constructor injection. Then constructor injection support immutability. It is support immutability, but setter injection does not support immutability. Support immutability. Okay. Immutability. Okay, but the setter injection does not support the immutability. Then we'll go to the next question. What is add the rate lookup? What is the use of that add the rate lookup? Add the rate lookup. It is used for the when you try to inject one prototype bean into the singleton bean. That time that Other lookup is used. Other lookup is used. Is used. Other lookup is used. Lookup is used to inject a prototype bean. A prototype scoped bean into a singleton bean. Singleton bean. And it is the Java representation, that is the other rate. that is the annotation base. But in XML base, XML element of that XML element, what is the XML element? XML element of at the rate lookup is lookup lookup hyphen method. Lookup hyphen method is the XML element of at the rate lookup. At the rate lookup is method hyphen lookup. Then that is first one, that is on a second one. Okay, just example how it is working. I'll show you. Just I have a prototype scope bin how to inject at the rate component at the rate scope prototype. That is the annotation base I created. I'm going to create one prototype bin class. Just take example alert notification. Notification is a bin I created as a prototype bin. I have another bin like a component and employee notification component public class employee notification. I have a class. It is a singleton bin, and alert notification is a prototype bin. I want to inject that prototype bin inside the singleton bin by using at the rate lookup, then public 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 alert noti public alert notification, and I have one getter method get notification. Get notification. Okay, like this. That is the Java code. I can inject one prototype bin inside the singleton bin by using the other lookup. Actually, these are the interview question they faced in one city interview. Okay, he also cleared the first round of interview. Okay, we'll go to the next video for the discussing some more questions. Thank you.